So, well, we have found ourselves in Texas, and let's just say this is ridiculous.
Well, a woman who says she suffered more than 300 fire ant bites, mostly on her face, says it happened as police officers held her down in an ant mound.
Wow, what the hell? This must be like she must have, I don't know, did she rob a bank? Did she like commit a murder? Is she a big drug dealer? It's got to be something serious, right? I mean, look what they're doing.
You can hear Taylor Rogers in this police body cam video screaming for help after she says she was stopped by Santa Fe Independent School District Police and Santa Fe Police Department officers because she says she was driving the wrong way in a circle drive at her son's school.
Driving the wrong way in a circle drive at her son's school. Now, I'm not going through all of the damn different articles. To sum it up, she made a wrong turn. One of the cops hit the side of her car and screamed at her to get her attention, and it made her nervous, and she didn't immediately stop. And so he calls for backup, and another one draws down on her. She is in the school parking lot, and her 9-year-old son is in the car with her.
And for no reason, thrown on the ground right into a bed of fire ants. Ants are on my face! And then held there while she's screaming that there's fire ants on her. They put handcuffs on her so she can't even brush them off her face.
The absence of empathy and human compassion among some individuals in law enforcement.
Rogers says she was bitten over and over on her face, scalp, neck, chest, back, and arms by fire ants.
And we know that actually, on occasion, they kill animals, and even sometimes they can kill people with enough bites. And I was counting these bites, and I stopped at 300. 300 bites.
Just cut my circulation off. Ants are on my face.
She's now filed a federal lawsuit in Galveston County against the city of Santa Fe and 2 officers. She says she was on school grounds dropping off her 9-year-old son, who was in the car and saw the whole thing.
She's telling these officers, there's ants on my face, and they don't brush them off. This was their punishment. They knew what they're doing. This was no mistake.
While I forgive those officers for their actions that day, I refuse.
No, you do not forgive them for anything. There is something wrong with, but this is going to get better as we progress through here. But no, you do not forgive them, because the next time they might shoot and kill your ass.
Refuse to remain silent in the face of the violation of my son's and my civil rights.
This happened in August 2021.
And the Santa Fe Police Department has not disciplined any officer. They have accepted this behavior.
It's not just a failure of individual officers, but also of the leadership and the first responders who are called upon to resolve societal issues and disputes.
If this is okay to do what they did to Taylor, then what else is okay?
The Santa Fe Police Department says it cannot comment on ongoing litigation.
Of course they can't stop. So, I just found a couple of these and I thought I'd throw them up there. This was more of a, what the fuck is this? Like, what are we zoned out on here? She's just standing and looking off into La La Land like, I don't know, I'm just here. While this one is just, anyway. Also, then 2 minutes and 52 seconds into, I'm not reading this whole article, I'm just reading to get you up to speed. Then 2 minutes and 52 seconds into Espinosa's arrest footage, Rogers makes the first audible reference to fire ants. Okay, Espinosa's arrest footage. Okay, this is it right here, okay? Espinosa's arrest footage. This is what I'm seeing. Ready? Are you ready? Espinosa, who has since been named Chief of Police of the Santa Fe Independent School District Police Department, says his department has received death threats connected to her allegations. We try to be transparent, he said. of volunteering the body cam footage to people. I have nothing to hide. A jury trial is expected to be set next year, and we will be following that. Named Chief of Police. That's where we're at. So, yeah. So, here's where we're at with this.
Okay, are you all ready? My name is Randall Callanan, and I'm a civil rights lawyer. And I'm here today with Taylor Rogers and members of the community because Taylor Rogers was stopped by the Santa Fe police and for no reason thrown on the ground right into a bed of fire ants in the middle of the day and then held there while she's screaming that there's fire ants on her. They put handcuffs on her so she can't even brush them off her face. And I just wanted to show you what this case is about. Here you go. This is just some of the ant bites, because these ant bites, fire ant bites that is, and us here in the South, we all know what fire ants are. And we know that actually, on occasion, they kill animals, and even sometimes they can kill people with enough bites. And I was counting these bites, and I stopped at 300 bites. And she can't brush them off her face, and she's telling these officers, there's ants on my face, and they don't brush them off. This was their punishment. They knew what they're doing. This was no mistake. And so we're here today to ask Santa Fe Police Department to discipline its officers. We saw the video. We gave the media the video clip, and it shows officers, 3 or 4 officers, just hanging around watching. Well, she isn't a danger. You can see she's not armed. She's not a large person. She's a female, and that officer is on top of her. She's got her constrained. She's got the handcuffs on, and they're still in the ant bed. Is it torture? Yeah, that's a strong word, but I call it torture. But the people can make up their own mind what the word is. But when the police hold you down in a fire ant bed, when you're saying fire ants, screaming, and they keep you there, what is that? And the Santa Fe Police Department has not disciplined any officer. They have accepted this behavior, which means that there are probably other situations where excessive force is used upon by officers. Because if this is okay to do what they did to Taylor, then what else is okay? Punches in the face, kicks, shootings, what else? So we're here today to say, hey, Santa Fe Police Department, get into the 21st century. You need to discipline your officers. And so we're here today to try to do something about that by raising awareness to the Santa Fe Police Department. And we have a few people here to talk about police techniques and so forth. And the first one will be Shelby Stewart.
Can we ask about the incident itself, though?
Oh, sure.
I think that would be important you get that.
Okay, sure.
If we can ask, because according to the lawsuit, this was in 2021.
Yes, that's correct.
That this was in front of the high school?
RJ Willem.
At RJ Willem, okay. Can you get closer to the mic?
No, she's not going to talk about the facts of the case because there's an ongoing case about it. Let me give you the generalities.
But according to the lawsuit, it was about, she wasn't pulled over so much, she was going the wrong way in a circle drive. Is that
right?
And that was Santa Fe ISD police at first, and then Santa Fe PD.
Yeah, that's correct. There was both ISD police there and the Santa Fe police, and she never endangered a single person. At the most, she went in the wrong direction. But they change their rules all the time, so it's understandable if she did go in the wrong direction. But they were extremely aggressive, and it frightened her. I mean, they were pounding on her car, and this one officer pulls a gun on her and points it right at her, but she's got her other child in the car. I mean, they're creating a dangerous situation, like escalating it through the sky, and apparently they have no de-escalation training here, and that's another thing they need is de-escalation training. So when she apparently for just a short period of time, maybe moved just a little bit, all these squads show up. Next thing you know, she's taken out of the car. she's not a danger to a single person. As a matter of fact, one of the squad cars runs into her when she's not even moving, totaling her car. Now, it didn't mean it smashed the car to pieces because the car was an older car, so when I say total, the value of the repair would be more than the value of the car. So that is basically...
Point being, they did it because they could. De-escalation, trust, I'm telling you, the amount of training and more training and continuing education training and de-escalation training that they get is nauseating. There's zero accountability. Hell, the one that did it was made chief of police. There is zero accountability. They don't give a shit.
What happened, and so they put her on the ground once again, and then, what transpired is what, transpired.
And that's what we're trying to fight, because you start with Santa Fe as DPD, and then SFPD gets called in.
Yes.
What time were they called for like something?
Well, we don't know the fine details of it yet, because the reason being is although we have there's a civil lawsuit filed, there are many protections that the government has when you even file a lawsuit against the government that the citizens don't have, and one is that creates big delays in what's called the discovery process, whereby you don't even get these pieces of information and documents and so forth until later.
And that's why we're now hearing about it, even though it was 2021. This has been ongoing.
Well, the lawsuit, there's a 2-year statute of limitations to file a lawsuit, and this particular lawsuit was filed near the end of the 2 years, so it was only filed late last year, and it was filed in Houston, and then it was moved to the Galveston, because Galveston has a federal courthouse, and it started in Houston, and really not much happened there, and then it's been moved to the Galveston courthouse, and it moved to the Galveston courthouse.
So this would have been June of, this says 9 months ago, I'm guessing June of last year.
January.
And you're asking for the disciplinary of the officers that were involved here. Was there a formal complaint filed for a criminal investigation?
They did an investigation, and there was no...
So the lawsuit, if this was from 9 months ago, and he said last year, the lawsuit had been filed in 2023.
Meted out. This is such a simple one. Look at the video. This is not a he said, she said. This is what the video said. Just look at the videos of everything that happened. No danger. Nobody injured except for her. Look at the video. There's 4 officers looking down, not excited about anything, while has her face in the ants, and the other officer is, just holding her down in there and she's saying ants. And it's so obvious. Now, there is this, an old custom of the police that if you run or disrespect an officer, you get excessive force used on you, and maybe one of these officers will. And I think that's really what it was, is the other officer says, they just assumed that the first officer knew what he was doing, and he's saying, oh, this woman, whatever, must deserve this punishment for whatever she did, so that's why we're not reacting to it. It's not that they didn't see it, or that they didn't realize it. It's that this is the form of punishment you get when you don't, stop immediately, or you disrespect an officer, which is a very archaic form, like from the Old West, and that's why we say, get into the 21st century, Santa Fe.
And if I could just clarify, too, is that you said officers standing around, and 2 things on the clip. It's a shorter clip. Is there more?
Oh, yeah, there's a whole bunch more. Yeah, there's a whole bunch more.
And how many SFP officers are there, and how many SFI?
The exact number I do not know.
Okay.
But they're both there.
What I'm saying, the ones that are standing around, are they Santa Fe PD, or are they SF? Because they may have different rules of engagement. I'm trying to get kind of the context.
I don't think they have different rules of engagement.
Same obligation.
Yeah, they're the same, because they're both licensed peace officers. As a matter of fact, some of them might have worked for one agency, then transferred to the other, so they don't change. The Constitution does not change depending upon which police agency you work for.
Well, actually, SFISD PD has ruled that when they turn over any incident to SFPD, they're to stand back unless they're asked for assistance. That's why I'm asking, because that's their actual policy. So,
well, okay, if that's a policy, right? But they don't give up their policy not to intervene. Right. In other words, like let's say they were the police were shooting her and stabbing her. What are you saying? That you say, oh, okay, well, I'm sorry, we've turned it over. No, if you're a police officer on the scene, the law says you're required to intervene in unconstitutional behavior, at least by words. I mean, you're not required to tackle the other officer or punch him, but you could say something as, hey, get that lady out. Hey, brush those fire ants off. Boom. But they didn't do that. They failed to intervene.
Right. And any of the information you've gathered so far as this come out, have any of the other officers said post-fact that, hey, yeah, what I saw was wrong, and I just didn't intervene? Or so do you have any of that information yet?
Well, I mean, you can see on the video they didn't intervene. So whether a person says I didn't intervene or not, once again, the video is right there where they're not intervening. So plus, officers generally stick together. So the first thing they do is they don't start saying negative things about other officers if they wish to keep on working.
Right. Well, I'm just saying, you're saying that if they recognize it was legal, they may not have thought it. That's what you're trying to put their thoughts.
Well, then they need severe training, because if you put a woman's face into an ant pile and leave it there and get all bitten up, and they don't know that they're not supposed to do that, that would be bizarre, and I don't think they're going to say that.
Well, no. I'm just trying to go into your course of what you're saying is that at any point is any officer say what they saw was wrong?
When you say on the video, no, not on the video. Well, we haven't taken the deposition and so forth. And once again, officers don't come forward in any one of my hundreds of cases, even though I've won many cases for excessive force. No officer in any of those cases, and that's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of officers, have ever come forward to me and admitted, or to anywhere, and admitted that what they did was wrong. They stick together till the end.
And do you know the status of the officers in the SFPD? You said one was promoted.
There's been no discipline whatsoever, even though they saw the video.
Are they still with the department?
Yes, they are.
Has Santa Fe PD made any comment to you at all? Have they,
No.
They reached out at all to her?
No.
Anything?
No.
Any contact? Tell us about that.
No, there's been no contact, but I'm the recent lawyer. There was a lawyer before, and I don't know about all of his interactions in the case. I've been on the case now for a few days.
Why did you take over?
Because the other lawyer is not on the case any longer.
By his choice, or did you want to switch up?
Well,
it's a fair question. I mean,
I don't know what a fair question is, but we don't have to sit here and answer every single question. I wish we
you
could
called
get
a press conference.
Yeah, we did call a press conference, and next we'll hear from Shelby Stewart.
My name is Shelby Stewart, SHELBY-STEWART. I am a civil rights activist, and I'm a retired Houston police sergeant where I spent 28 years in HPD. When I looked at that video, it was one of the most horrific things I'd ever seen. All these officers standing around while her face is in a mound of fire ants doing nothing. It indicates these things. The officers stood around like it's normal. Okay, like they didn't have to take any type of action. That means this department is full of goons and cowards. The goon side did what happened to her on the fire ant situation. But the coward part is that none of those officers intervened to save this woman. And since there's been no discipline on these officers, they had the expectation that the chief wasn't going to do anything, and he didn't do anything.
Either chief.
Say it again.
There's two chiefs involved here. One here, one at the ISD. So neither chief took his on. He's one of them right there, right? The ISD police chief is on the scene.
Okay. Okay. Did he stop him?
No.
He's the one who ran into my car.
Right. That's what we're trying to, because it's two different departments here.
Okay. Okay. I would say this. Santa Fe is crying to have Merrick Garland and the DOJ come down here and straighten out this police department. Because you don't have police officers. These are not police officers who stood around and watched what happened to her. And they bring shame to the badge.
As a trained police officer, 28 years you said you had.
Yes.
What would your reaction at that scene have been?
I would have stopped him. I would have stopped them from, first of all, she shouldn't have been in a fire ant pile in the first place. I would have had them take her out that pile and process her. But I also would have questions for the individual and would open up an investigation on the individual that put her in that mound.
Sergeant, did you see the full video or only the clip that
I only saw the clip.
Okay. So, in your experience with the HPD, did you ever see something similar in which you actually stepped in and tried to stop it?
I never saw anything like that.
So you never.
I never saw anything where officers were standing around watching the law being broken and doing nothing.
Okay. So you've never experienced that in your 28 years?
No.
Have you ever been in a situation like that where there's two different departments? Is there any question as to who is in control, or does that matter?
I'm not certain that it really matters, because we all should be under the same rules as far as criminal conduct is concerned, and how people that are arrested, how they're treated. There should be no difference in that.
So neither department has a quote out saying, well, it wasn't us, it was them. And it was them. Did they have this?
They were standing there and they watched her get brutalized. They're responsible.
Sergeant, let me just ask you, you've only seen the one clip. Have you looked at any other reports about this?
Just that one.
So you're basing the sole judgment on this one clip?
Yes.
All right, so is that normal tactic as well?
And I've only found one clip. I know I read a couple of articles that said they looked at the 3 different body cam footage. I can't find any of them, so if anybody can find it, feel free to link it.
Your experience of just looking at one thing, and that's the evidence?
Well, look, that one clip tells me everything. Her face is in the fire ant mound. Other officers are standing around watching it, not doing anything. And so, I mean, I don't know how much I need to see, but I saw guys that did not take the proper action.
If they say it was resisting arrest beforehand, that's why she ended up on the ground then, you don't know if that happened or not?
I don't know how many police officers were there at the time. I saw a bunch. I mean, how does she end up, why does her face end up?
That's what I'm asking.
It is the courts who punish people. Officers do the investigation and arrest. So,
right, but you're presenting him as an expert witness or witness into this thing, and I'm using his experience because he wasn't there. Well, I'm trying to say he's experienced as an HPD officer. I'm asking him. So would you normally base it on a short clip, and that's how you make a decision?
If I see anybody, not just her, being abused by a police officer, and 5 others are standing around doing nothing, what more do I need to see?
If the officers were to claim that she struck first,
that doesn't matter. That doesn't mean they can whip her ass.
It wasn't resisting that while the 4 officers were standing around.
So, but I'm just saying, I'm just going through everything because we don't have their side, obviously. And so you're being presented here as an expert, so I'm just trying to figure out what you do know.
Well, all I can go by is what I see.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And Sergeant, you never had any experience with Santa Fe PD doing anything. You're just talking about your background to understand, correct?
Never had any experience with Santa Fe PD.
Yeah.
Why don't you go to that first one and ask him? Okay, no, I know. Maybe there's a big difference. I know. I already know. Hi, my name is Jeff Reese. It's Jeff Reese, R-E-E-S-E. I'm currently with the Greater Houston Coalition for Justice, former president of the Houston Peace and Justice Center. But I also was in law enforcement for almost 26 years. I was with the Harris County Sheriff's Office. And, the bad thing is people want to believe the best about the police, okay? And there's a thin blue line that if you work, no matter what agency you work for, you're going to come to the aid of another officer regardless of what agency he works for, okay? Right? And so, but there's a thing called POP. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's called pissing off the police. And where I come from, this is what happened when you angered an officer. There's a saying, you can beat the rat, but you can't beat the ride. I don't know if you've ever heard that. Some of the old heads that I work with. One thing I also did, I helped form the mental health unit for the Sheriff's Department. I was a trainer at our academy for the CIT. I did that for over 2 years. And I helped form the train the trainer. I've been a hostage negotiator. And I've talked to people in crisis. I was also a crisis hotline suicide counselor. So the thing with this, I think where I'm here, is there is a propensity to give the police the doubt. And when something like this happens, we automatically give the police the doubt. Even, we don't want the police to be seen in a bad light. All right, they're the heroes. But what we saw happen that day, there was nothing heroic about what happened. Now, you mentioned she was going to be arrested for resisting arrest?
No, I didn't. I just asked.
Okay, well, many times people are arrested for resisting arrest. Well, what were you going to arrest them for in the first place? Right? And many
Resisting arrest is a secondary offense.
times the judge dismissed the charges. In this case, this was so horrific. I couldn't believe what I saw on these pictures when Randall sent them to me. I was like, dude, no way. I cannot believe that this happened. Even though it happened a couple years ago, for me, that's not surprising. I have friends that are mothers that sons have been murdered for over 2 and 3 years, and they're still waiting for an autopsy. Why? Because the police did it. And this is kind of sad. I know it's bad. People want to believe the best of the police. But what happened there was not the best, I think. And so if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. But yes.
You said at the beginning that you had, in your experience, you did training, but you said there was the POP, as you said,
yes.
Where you came from. Did you ever see any incident like this, and what did you do about it?
Well, no fire ants, no. But yes.
No, but just in general.
Of course. I've seen people rip the skin off their face.
And you intervened each time?
But you have to. How could you stand by and not intervene? And I say, if you see this picture here, how could you not intervene? All you have to do is pick her up. Get her off there. But remember, she's not a threat. Why would you have her face down? She's not a felon. She didn't have a weapon. And she's at the school dropping her kids off.
Right.
So common sense would tell you what? You can interact with common sense, hopefully. But sometimes the officers, in their way of thinking, they view everyone as this terrific threat. And they're going to neutralize the threat.
And what evidence have you seen from this video only or music?
Yeah, it's just a picture.
That one clip
just
is
a picture. And in Randall's word, his word is good with me. We've done many, cases together. And, what threat could she be? And why was she pulled over in the first place? Did she call in a bomb threat? Say, hey, I'm driving a white Mercedes and I'm coming with a bomb? No. She was just dropping her kid off. And even if she went the wrong way, that's far excessive. And what's bad is the police didn't do that. They didn't sting her face, but they put her in an ant bed. And then when she asked to get off, did they let her off? No, they pushed her down even further. Yes, sir.
I was wondering.
Okay,
on this, that when we talk about the incident, what about any charges on her case? What happened on those?
What happened on her case is they charged her with evading detention in a motor vehicle, which she was in a motor vehicle, and I don't know if she drove 10 feet or whatever. But when when she was stopped, one of the officers rammed into her and totaled out her vehicle, and so that was excessive.
And that was the SFISD chief.
I never left school property.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you didn't go. And again, that sounds like.
Right,
it sounds like she ran, but this is like to a spot.
Well, the actual law evading with a motor vehicle sound you might imagine, those are those freeway chases where people crash and kill people. No, it can be anything. Just like let's say you're in this camera truck here, and an officer says, "Hey, pull over. You see some lights," and you go, "Well, I'm going to drive 1 block so I can pull into this gas station." They could, based upon the law itself, say, "No, you evaded detention because you saw me a whole block back there." And during that whole block, those 12 seconds, you knew I was behind you, trying to stop you for those 12 seconds, and the law doesn't make any consideration, doesn't say you can go 1 block or anything. So, but she's currently on deferred adjudication, which means that if she completes her deferred adjudication, she'll have no conviction. And we're not dealing with a rich person who's going to hire, lawyers, like Dick DeGuerin, or even, if it's about any lawyer, that she's a young woman trying to make it. She's a hard-working woman. She's got a child, and we're not talking about rich people here. And,
essentially, she's took a no longer tender.
Yeah, well, so that's sort of like it. But if she completes her deal, she won't be convicted, and it'll be all over. So that's good.
$5.
But anyway, So, the next person. Okay, so next we'll hear from. Did you want to speak?
No, I was just going to ask, just to be clear, she was never on a public roadway or anything like that?
Well, when you say, well, it's a public school district.
Right, but it's not a public roadway.
Yeah, it's not a public. It's not a public roadway like we have here. She was.
Avenue S and North Ave.
Yeah. So anyway, but no one was ever in danger.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like you were on the road running.
Right. No, yeah, no.
I was just scared because the lady was
You said they banged on your car, right? So you didn't know.
And pointed a gun at her with
My
her
window doesn't
child,
roll down.
with a child in the back.
So if a lady's just punching my car, like from the back all the way to the front, my son's in there, how do I...
So she's saying a lady was punching the car. I'm guessing it's this, whatever the hell that is.
I opened the door and I don't know what she was doing.
Just to clarify, you say a lady was an officer or
I
just
thought
some random
at the time it was like a security guard.
Well, let's not discuss the facts of the cases. Once again, the case is under litigation, but you did have a statement to say.
Right.
Why don't you come here and give your statement, please?
Sorry, I just have it on my phone. That's fine. So, hello, my name is Taylor Rogers. The morning of August 19th, 2021 stands out in my memory as a day that underscored a significant issue: the absence of empathy and human compassion among some individuals in law enforcement. Peace officers. Police officers are entrusted with maintaining peace through legal authority. They must not misuse this power to suppress or retaliate against victims of abuse. Instead, they should be pillars of support whom we can turn to in times of need, refraining from exacerbating conflicts with excessive force or prejudice. It's evident to everyone, but is anyone taking action? The distressing reality is that people across the nation are experiencing bullying, abuse, and even loss of life at the hands of those meant to protect them. It's not just a failure of individual officers, but also of the leadership and the first responders who are called upon to resolve societal issues and disputes. So what's the solution? We urgently need enhanced police training focusing on de-escalation techniques to diffuse tense situations with empathy and restraint. Mental health training is crucial for officers to respond peacefully and effectively, especially when encountering individuals facing mental illness, abuse, or hardship. Ultimately, the answer lies in love, the essence of God. We must strive to make peace with our neighbors and extend compassion to those in need. If we witness wrongdoing, let us act, but let our actions be rooted in kindness, understanding, and self-control. I urge the Santa Fe Police Department, along with all law enforcement agencies, to embody the principles they espouse within their own walls. Let us heed the words of Jesus, who proclaimed, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God." Matthew 5:9. In a world marred by violence and hatred, let us embrace our role as agents of peace. As one community, let us choose love. While I forgive those officers for their actions that day, I refuse to remain silent in the face of the violation of my son's and my civil rights.
And what clarification? The lawsuit claims there was an incident before that she has.
Yeah, there was an incident before, and I believe that's was the subject of a lawsuit, correct? Was there a lawsuit? Okay, so that would be on file with the Galveston County Federal Courthouse?
It should be.
Yeah, so all that would be...
Lawsuit.
It was a federal lawsuit. That's
But
right.
it involved you too.
It
Yes.
involved me and my mother. They broke her teeth out.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, alrighty, well, if you have any further questions, we'd be glad to entertain them.
Explain, she said her kid was in the car. Explain where their children, did they see it, where they were, that type of thing.
Well, I mean, they're in the back seat, so of course they saw everything. I mean, they're awake. He or she's awake. How old are they?
He's going to be 11 in July.
How old are they?
He was 9.
Okay, so that's a 9-year-old in the back seat, so he saw everything.
In fact, at one point the officer refers, say, "Hey, keep resisting." It's the only reason that, according to the lawsuit, she stopped saying anything or you went quiet because they said your son's watching from the car. Then they use it as kind of a
Well,
pressure tactic.
well, she was never convicted of or even charged with resisting, to my knowledge.
No, I'm just saying, during the tape, according to the lawsuit, the reporting hears an officer say, "Hey, quiet down. Your son's seeing this."
Basically,
hang on. I know you really want to say something, but there's a lawsuit. No.
Yeah, and I'm just referring to the lawsuit itself. And I know you just got it here. Randall, I know you just got it. I'm just saying that was one kind of particular start out that.
Yeah, she was there. An officer can say anything, and one thing they might want to psychological use is maybe just to shame people, like, oh, you tried to run away from us or disrespected us. Well, you're not a good mother, so look what you're doing. Basically, it could be just like an insult.
I mean, that's what the lawsuit kind of alleges, that he used that and said, "Hey, your kid's seeing this. Behave yourself."
Right. Well, I see it as like an officer insulting. Right. It's like, because what's she supposed to do? I mean, they're pointing a gun at her. They're ramming her car.
And to clarify, it was an officer that pulled the gun. I just want to make sure.
Yeah, an officer. Okay.
Did officers offer any kind of first aid, and if they did, how long?
No, but they didn't take her to the hospital when they saw all the bites. Or I guess they didn't even take her to the hospital. They must have. They took you to the jail, and from the jail went to the hospital.
I went when I got out.
Okay, so they didn't even take her to the hospital.
They didn't do a medical check.
Oh my God, I didn't even know that because they just got the case.
They gave me some allergy, like Benadryl, because my face was swelling really bad.
Yeah. So, and a lot of times officers will do that because when you go to the hospital, then there becomes medical records of the incident. Whereas if she just goes home, maybe she won't do it. There'll be no medical records because when you don't want proof of what you've done. And by going to the hospital, taking her to the hospital, that would be proof when a doctor says, "Oh, look at all these ant bites," and then document her injuries.
But
she went afterwards.
I would take it now. You do have those records on.
Yeah, we do have medical records.
So how long, if she didn't get medical attention until she went to the hospital after she was in jail, how long was she in jail before she could get out?
2 days. 2 days.
You're in jail for 2 days.
Okay. Alrighty, if there's nothing further, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you all.
Sorry.
Yes, this is my
So yeah, that's where we're at with that. I know, it's a long one. So, let me know what you think about this one in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. Also again, 92 or 93% of people that watch these videos do not subscribe to the channel. Again, you're at your computer, you have your phone in your hand. All you gotta do, it's right there. You see the button, just click it. And I'll stop harassing you. And let me know what you think about this one. And I am out.